Am I the a-hole for feeding cat food to my lunch thief? Over a year ago, my aunt's husband helped me get my current job. I'm not a fan of nepotism, but in my country, getting your first job is nearly impossible. You need experience, but without that first opportunity, how do you gain it? That's why we have a high unemployment rate among young people. Often, you need someone with connections to help. I did my internship like any final year student. At first, I just made copies, took notes, brought coffee, ran errands, etc., until they moved me to a different department where my uncle-in-law had more influence. He started assigning me tasks related to my field, and eventually, I got hired permanently. Some people gave me attitude, while others ignored me. Now, my uncle is out of the country. No, I'm not in his position. I report to someone else. But ever since he left, it seems like there's a plan to make me quit. They take my parking spot, eat my lunch, exclude me from birthday cake celebrations, and plan loud social outings without inviting me. Not everyone is like this, but at least 4 out of a team of 10 are, and the rest just stay indifferent. I had a mini fridge under my desk, one of those tiny ones my sister used for skincare products. My lunch stopped disappearing, but then they started complaining that it was leaking, which was untrue. Then they said my food had strong smells and made the area stink. And finally, they claimed the fridge was an unnecessary power expense for the office. My boss told me to get rid of it to avoid escalating the issue to HR. When I unplugged it, I overheard them joking outside that I didn't have my godfather anymore, referring to my uncle. I started leaving my lunch in the shared fridge again, and they resumed stealing it. I was furious. HR only told me to label my food, so I did. The thief responded by taking my food out and leaving the label bag in the fridge. I spent days thinking of a way to teach them a lesson. I considered adding laxatives to my food, but after researching online, I saw a video where someone did that, and the thief ended up in the hospital and sued the person who did it. That discouraged me. While reading the comments on that video, someone suggested using cat food. I bought a can, but the smell was overpowering. My girlfriend suggested seasoning it to mask the smell, and it worked like a charm. I added garlic, oregano, and fried onions. It smelled amazing. The first day I left the food, someone took it. I waited all afternoon for a reaction, but nothing happened. This went on for several days, and I got so good at preparing it that even I found it tempting. Then I thought, this doesn't make sense. I'm still feeding the thief. Why would anyone believe someone would keep leaving great lunches without ever noticing or complaining? I decided the thief needed to know what they were eating, but I didn't know who it was yet. I planned to leave a can of cat food inside the lunch. This time, I didn't cook or season it. I just poured it in. I also hid a baseball bat under my desk, just in case. I wasn't sure who the thief was, and there were 2 muscular guys on the team. I'm not exactly strong. Not long after lunch, the thief came storming over. I was stunned. It was the last person I expected. This guy had always told me, "Don't worry, they're just jealous of you because of your uncle." Sometimes, he even chatted with me. He yelled that he would live me for feeding him dog food. I told him it wasn't dog food, it was cat food. He tried to come at me, but someone intervened. In HR, he claimed I had never complained and that I had given him permission. He came up with a string of excuses. I explained that my food had been disappearing and I had switched to a more organic diet. HR told him not to eat anything of mine again and sent us back to work. The next day, he served me with a police summons for damaging his dignity and personal rights. HR called me in alone and told me to resolve the issue quietly because what I did was serious. I gathered all the receipts for the cat food I bought, along with the seasonings and the time I spent preparing it, and handed the bald an invoice. I told him we could settle if he reimbursed me for all the meals he'd stolen. He lost it, and my boss happened to see the invoice. My boss started laughing and told him the deal was fair. However, some colleagues said dignity isn't something to be played with.